All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our July 2023 live pet Q&A. My name is Jordan. I'm the customer service manager here at Real Mushrooms, and I am introducing Joni Kamlet and Dr. Rob Silver. We're going to be talking about mushroom synergy for pets this evening. So we're so happy to have you guys here. Be sure to drop your questions down in the comments, and I will see you soon.
Thank you, Jordan. And it's so good to see Jordan in front of the camera for a change. She has been behind the scenes for our all of our Facebook Lives and does such a wonderful job. So, hey there, Rob.
And you'll be seeing much more of Jordan in times to come.
Yes.
So let me briefly talk about synergy, because I know that we have a lot of questions and we want to get to those. But when we talk about synergy, what we're really talking about are three different things. One, the fact that some mushrooms work well with other mushrooms. And oftentimes, if you have a need for some kind of clinical outcome, putting several mushrooms together, they'll work synergistically towards that end versus using a single mushroom. There's studies that have shown that actually you do get better effects when you use multiple mushrooms, which is one of the reasons for the success of our 5 Defenders formula, which has 5 of the most potent mushrooms out there. But another synergy that we can look at is also the synergy between mushrooms and herbs. And for instance, I've been finding in my work with CBD that combining that with mushrooms for calming, or combining that with mushrooms that have analgesic properties, can also be very beneficial, certainly as anti-inflammatories and as antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. We can put them all together. But the last thing about synergy that I think is also important to note is that even within a given mushroom, we talk with cannabis, we talk about this thing called the entourage effect, which is that there's so many ingredients in the cannabis plant, they all work together synergistically to have that synergy. That's really what the entourage effect is. We see the same thing in mushrooms. One instance of this would be shiitake for cholesterol, high cholesterol. Now, we don't really have high cholesterol in dogs. We do have hypertriglyceridemia in many of our dogs, schnauzers included. And so shiitake contains beta-glucans, which we know can help to lower cholesterol levels. Shiitake also contains this mevinolin, which is an enzyme found in some mushrooms that actually digests the cholesterol and helps to reduce it, and is the structure which the patented statin drugs are modeled after. But shiitake also has another molecule in it called erythritidine. And erythritidine also helps to increase the metabolism of cholesterol. So that's how we can see 3 different types of synergies with mushrooms. So that being said, bring on the questions.
Yeah, very cool. I love I don't hear much about that third synergy you're describing, and it's so important. I mean, mushrooms, it's not just about the beta-glucans, that's for sure.
No, absolutely.
They're packed with all kinds of other cool stuff. So yeah, Jordan, you want to, and we're going to go, we've actually had a lot of questions come in. We send out, we have a newsletter, our email list for Real Mushrooms. We send out that we're doing this Facebook Live, and people can post their questions in advance. So we're going to start with those because we got a lot of them for this particular topic.
And we want to honor the folks, that thought ahead and have that much concern that they reach out to us.
Absolutely. So the first question: our dog is 11 years old and having her second bout with pancreatitis. What mushroom recommendation would you have to treat this?
So I don't know that I would recommend a mushroom to treat it. Especially if you're dealing with what we call acute pancreatitis, where anything the animal eats, they barf right back up. In those cases, we don't let them eat anything, and we feed them, intravenously until they recover. We give them intravenous antioxidants like vitamin C can be very helpful for that, and N-acetylcysteine. But this is the second bout. So this is more what we would call chronic pancreatitis. And we know there are multiple studies that show that when you use antioxidants concurrent with chronic pancreatitis, it significantly reduces the potential for reoccurrences of it. And all mushrooms have wonderful antioxidant properties. And there is a specific antioxidant found in mushrooms that is very potent, called ergothioneine. We call it ergo for short because it's tongue twister otherwise. And we find high levels of it in some mushrooms and lower levels in others. Our 5 defenders, which is our synergistic combination of 5 mushrooms,
synergy, yeah,
has the shiitake in it, and has several other mushrooms which do have nice amounts of the ergothioneine in it, the maitake as well. So the 5 defenders would be an easy way to go in terms of treating your dog with that. And of course, if they can't hold anything down, they're not going to be able to hold a mushroom down. But that's what I would recommend is just wait until your dog is in the recovery phase from this bout. Follow your vet's instructions, and I'm sure they'll be helping you. And then let's get working on a prevention program. I think that's probably the smartest thing to do.
And I would imagine you'd want to start with a very low dose just to start out to make sure there's,
with a healthy dog, I would want to start with a dose.
Well,
You never know what kind of unusual reaction that individual may have. But yeah, no, that's a good advice, Joni. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, whenever adding any new supplement or food or anything, you want to start very slow. But yeah, particularly with a dog that has a sensitive pancreas. So I hope that helps. And Jordan, what is our next question? A best mushroom combination to improve liver enzymes. Oh boy.
Well, reishi is the single best mushroom for the liver.
Yes.
But I think that, combining it with another mushroom, could possibly be beneficial. Perhaps a mushroom that has levels of ergothioneine in it.
Right.
Because of its impact on the liver. So, I would say, 5 defenders. I hate to sound like a broken record, but the 5 defenders, it has the reishi in it, and it's got the shiitake, which is high in ergothioneine, as well as the maitake. And, and it has a lot of benefits. So I would suggest, of course, mushrooms alone aren't going to be enough to improve liver enzymes if it's a pretty severe case. And that's where we look at things like milk thistle extract, which is called silymarin. And then there's some other products that are available that are labeled for vet use, such as denamarin and whatnot, SAMe types of products, which also can be helpful for that. But I'm a very strong believer, not just in the use of mushrooms, but in the value of milk thistle to help.
Love milk thistle. It's tropho restorative, which means that it pretty much supports every organ in the body, is what I was taught. And just going back to what mushroom for liver enzymes, what about chaga? Because I know chaga is also very supportive for it's hepatosupportive.
And chaga is also
in the 5 defenders. So yes, to support your suggestion of the 5 defenders, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why Joni and I work as a team, because each of us, each of us kind of fills in where the other one sort of
exactly. Well, I think one of the challenges is, and we've talked about this a lot before, a lot of the mushrooms do the same things. They're all anti-inflammatory. They're all immune modulating. They're all, you could pretty much, at least for the commonly used medicinal mushrooms, throw a dart and, hit a mushroom and say, okay, yeah, that one supports the liver too, in some way, shape, or form. But so anyway, let's go on to the next one. Can mushrooms help in preventing valley fever in dogs? I'm moving to 20 acres of land. Wow, I know that's really tough in California in the valley.
Mm-hmm. In Arizona too.
Yeah.
In the Sonoran Desert.
Yeah.
So don't know, quite honestly. There's no studies that say that it will. So, but valley fever is a fungal infection, and so in this case, we're looking to fight fire with fire. Yeah. So using something like turkey tail, for instance, I think would be the best bet. I cannot guarantee you that it's going to prevent it. Certainly, looking at some forms of prevention in terms of maybe keeping your dogs in a fenced-in yard that has grass on it, and not as exposed to it. But it's in a lot of places, in the valley, and But I would say, in terms of answer to your question, I think turkey tail would probably be the best bet. And 5 defenders has turkey tail in it, and the chaga also can be really good in that regard. So, I think, maybe we should just be selling one product.
5 defenders, and reishi. I was thinking reishi might also be helpful.
reishi, adding additional reishi, maybe just doing capsules of reishi and capsules of turkey tail.
Exactly. Yeah.
To get you, even higher amounts of that without having to give even more of the 5 defenders, since they're only about half of the total amount of what's in the 5 defenders. You'd have to give twice as much. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's worth a try. I would definitely suggest doing it. I just can't promise you that it's
gonna. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about mushrooms. There's no downside. I mean, you're providing such wonderful support, helping the body remain vigilant against all kinds of insults, whether it be fungal or viral or bacterial. So, just keep taking the mushrooms every day for your dogs and cats and for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question, the cat question. I have a foster cat who had FHO surgery 6 months ago. He has a limp with a snapping or clicking on his hock area. Is there a mushroom that can help his condition?
Okay. So, I mean, hopefully you've taken the cat back into the orthopedic surgeon who did FHO to evaluate the hock. It may be that whatever caused the injury that led to the FHO may have also injured the hock. Right. So, as far as a specific mushroom to help the condition, my suggestion would be to look at cordyceps. And one reason is that cordyceps has been shown, an ingredient in cordyceps called cordycepin, has been shown to have analgesic properties. Now, it's to help with the pain. Now, I don't think we can help with the mechanical snapping, and that may also develop over time some osteoarthritis. So that's where we would help with the pain. I think using something that might be a joint lubricant, like a glucosamine or Adequan, could be a good idea to help keep that joint lubricated to reduce the rate at which the arthritis develops. But cordyceps has extra value for a cat because of its ability to help protect the kidneys, and cats are very susceptible to kidney disease and ultimately kidney failure. And commonly we're going to be using NSAIDs to treat a cat with the kind of condition that he's just been treated. And NSAIDs can also be tough on the kidneys. So the cordyceps can be helpful in terms of preventing that. And it's a good companion, I think, in general to use with NSAIDs because of its renal protective value.
Yeah, no, good advice. And I'm just because I'm putting my rehab hat on, and I'm just like thinking, like, what could be causing that snapping and clicking? It'd be really I'd be curious to find out exactly what was going on in that hock area, and if the surgery triggered something, or if it had been there, beforehand, like you mentioned, Dr. Silver.
Yeah, I read a recent report in a veterinary magazine that the rehab specialists are now expanding and getting more detailed in their ability to manage cats through their physical therapy.
Yeah.
They started with dogs, and now cats are the underserved population, and so they're working more with them.
Yeah, we used to get so excited. We'd get for every 100 dogs, we'd get one cat, and we'd get so excited when we got a cat. Although
it's hard to get them to do the things you need them to do, and you certainly can't put them in an underwater treadmill.
Oh, we did. Yeah. We actually, and I live to tell the tale. But it's I had to put on full body armor and get in there with the cat. But no, it was a sweet cat, and actually it was very helpful too. But it was the rare cat that could get in a moving body of water. So anyway, so let's move on to the next one, Jordan. I have a 25 kilogram setter collie cross. A grade 2 mast cell tumor was removed last December. I've recently put him on mushrooms, giving him 854 milligrams beta glucans per day. If and when would you reduce this?
Well, I guess, we'd like to see no evidence of recurrence before we would reduce it. And, I'm not sure, a period of regrowth, oftentimes depends on the degree of malignancy, of the tumor itself. Grade 2 tends to be a lower grade malignancy. And in many cases, grade 2s never return even when you remove them. So I would say December, and this is July, that's 7 months. That's pretty good. And you haven't seen any reoccurrence. I would say try and reduce it in half. Why don't you see how that works for your 25 kilogram setter Collie cross? And thanks for giving me the weight and metric.
I know, I love that. And you didn't need to use a calculator or anything. You really impressed me.
Well, I don't know what mushrooms are being given, so I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. What do you say? Maybe we'll move, take a few questions that are coming in the chat, and show them some love as well. And just so you know, when it comes up as Facebook user, we have some different Facebook groups: our Real Mushrooms for Pets, Real Mushrooms Insiders, Real Mushrooms Practitioners. And when you're watching us in that in the group, your name it's private, so your name doesn't show. So you're just Facebook user. Question is, I use 5 Defenders regularly for my pack of 13 rescue dogs. Can I add a specific mushroom in addition for added support? Wow, 13 rescue dogs. Good for you.
So you're not saying what you're using it for. I assume that it's more of a preventative type
General,
of
yeah.
I think 5 Defenders is fine. You've got enough on your hands with 13 rescue dogs. I think 5 Defenders will work just fine.
And if I could add, if some of those dogs are older, I would consider lion's mane. I think any senior dog or cat can benefit from being on lion's mane, which will support cognitive function. So if you wanted to add one, that would be. What do you think of that suggestion?
Yeah, great idea. I would probably have suggested Cordyceps, which we each have our own faves.
I know we do. And you'd suggest Cordyceps for
for Cordyceps does have a cognition clearing effect, not as strong as lion's mane, but it also helps the geriatric in terms of their energy, their stamina, their comfort, those sorts of things. And it has a calming effect as well, even with its ability to boost energy. That's why I like as the mushroom synergy found between Cordyceps and lion's mane together, and we're kind of looking at coming up with a pet formula with both of those in it.
Yeah, and I just have a spontaneous. We're not going to give away the whole formula, but maybe we can give a little, or the name, but maybe we can give a little tidbit of the mushrooms that are coming out in our upcoming new product that is going into the pipeline, because it is quite a mushroom synergy there that includes the 5 Defenders plus
lion's mane plus Cordyceps.
Exactly.
Touching all the bases there,
Yeah.
So it's meant to be it's really meant to be kind of a daily thing. So it's not super strong in terms of treating a specific condition. It's meant to be used as a daily wellness tonic.
Right. And it's going to be a powder, not a capsule, not a chew. It's going to be a powder that you can sprinkle on top of the food. And we're very excited. It's going to have a lot more ingredients than mushrooms as well. Some pretty exciting ingredients. So we've been patiently waiting. It's developing a new product. There's a lot of when you want to do it correctly and make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's and doing it in compliance and creating a really good product. It takes a long time. And Doc Rob I just think it's a brilliant formulation. Yes, well, it is. I mean, when you showed it to me when you first showed it to me, I think I shrieked a little bit. I was so excited because you had so many ingredients. You had all my favorite mushrooms. You had the 5 Defenders plus the mushrooms. I'm always thinking, oh, I wish it just had this. I wish it had that one. And there they are, but also some other really powerful ingredients.
Even contains probiotics.
It does. It does.
That's enough for today on this.
Yeah, I know. We're going to stop there, but
let's get back to the question.
Yes, exactly. I know this is more for people, but what is recommended for eyesight?
Got me stumped on that one.
Yeah.
How about you, Joni? Do you have any suggestions? I haven't read about anything.
No.
Now, the liver is associated with the eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
To help calm the liver down and support the liver, as with reishi, could be beneficial to the eyes. If we're talking about Chinese herbs, we oftentimes talk about using an herb called chrysanthemum, which which reduces inflammation in the eyes.
Yeah.
It may be, Bridget, that an herbal formula might be more specific for eyesight, and certainly eyes don't necessarily recover, as they develop these degenerative conditions, and so sometimes, eye drops. There are, if the eyes are dry eye, which is another problem we see in geriatrics, there are some Chinese herbal formulas that help to improve lubrication in the eye. So, I'm not sure I'd look to a mushroom for that, but
I agree with you about the liver eye connection. I notice that, when my eyesight is blurrier than usual, I know that I need a little bit of detox, so I'll add a little more milk thistle, or, sometimes I'll do eye bright. I heard something actually interesting, and I don't know if I haven't confirmed it, but there was some talk in another group about floaters. I have my first floater, and people were talking about that could be related to parasites, which I don't know. I know that looks like that look is a bit skeptical.
Well, I have not read about anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And parasites, are fairly well controlled in our domestic animals, and so I think there's a whole philosophy in some aspects, in some forms of natural medicine, that many of our problems, including cancer, are parasite driven. So I think and as a scientist, I find it hard to connect with that information. So that's where you saw.
Yeah, no, I can read you so well. I can just tell by the look on your face. I'm like, oh, wow, Joni really said a zinger.
She's trying to hide anything.
That's okay. That's what I love about you. And I still say stuff.
That's probably why people don't like about me too. But anyway. Let's go for the next question.
Okie doke. From Jennifer, my cat just had a vaccine-induced sarcoma removed that did not get it all. She said it went into her spine. Is there a mushroom to use? I have 5 defenders. Is that appropriate?
I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, I am too.
Especially when cats really don't need vaccinations, and we don't. And I assume that it's probably between the shoulder blades, and that's not where we're supposed to vaccinate. We're supposed to vaccinate in the rear leg, and we vaccinate the rear leg because if you get one of those, you can amputate, and that cures it. So, that's one reason people are very skeptical about vaccinations, is these kinds of serious complications, which aren't that frequent, and the risk of the disease could be more frequent. But so, the important thing with this, in terms of using a mushroom to address this, the remnants, the microscopic disease that's there, is to be able to get enough into your cat. And depending on the compliance of your cat, how accepting she can be with taking things orally, I would suggest the best mushroom, single mushroom, would be turkey tail. I think 5 defenders is not a bad choice.
Right.
You may have difficulty getting either of them into the kitty cat, in which case my suggestion would be to look at Cordyceps, because of the taste of it, because it is so bland and well accepted, and it still has 25% beta glucans. It's got good beta glucan content. There's good studies about cordycepin, which is one of my favorite mushroom ingredients, about it being anti-cancer as well. So I would say the Cordyceps would probably be a really good mushroom to use if you can't get the other ones into the cat, and you want to use a pretty high dosage, the highest dosing tier, but you need to start with cats at the lowest dosing tier, or even below the lowest dosing tier, to get them used to it, and then gradually try to escalate it to get the dosage to be as high as you can get it, close to that very high end. These are very nasty cancers, unfortunately, sarcomas, very, very nasty, and they just spread throughout the tissue, and you can't surgically remove them unless you take a huge swath of tissue, and back between the scapula, there's not a lot of tissue you can remove without doing damage to the spine or other structures.
Yeah. And then just to add, Jennifer's saying she's 18 years old. I adopted her 6 years ago. I have not vaccinated her, but I'm sure she was vaccinated before I got her. It's next to her Tail. Yeah. Okay. So they did. It wasn't the right. They probably did the back leg.
Interesting. Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, I'm sorry about that, Jennifer, and thank you for adopting this older cat.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not blaming you for vaccinating her. We're all, it's a double-edged sword, vaccinations.
Yeah.
But thank you for the follow-up, and give that a try, and reach out to us if you need some more help.
Oh, and just to thank you for giving us more information, Jennifer. She's actually already taking 1 gram of turkey tail a day, and she's been very compliant with the capsule. So sounds like you're doing the right thing, Jennifer.
Absolutely. Good for you.
Let us know how it goes. Next question, pygmy goats. I have pygmy goats. Can I add mushrooms to their food?
You sure can.
Yeah.
And we have it in powder form, which should go down pretty easily. And goats are not that picky about what they eat, at least the goats I work with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Next question. Hey, Julie. Julie Jeffrey. I would like to start my 10-year-old dog on 5 defenders for wellness. She has a history of struvite crystals. Will this mushroom combo cause a change in her urine pH?
There's no information about the impact of mushrooms on urine pH. So I can't really say. And oftentimes we'll see that with one dog's metabolism, they may create one type of urine pH for the same ingredient that another dog takes that doesn't do that. So I think the 5 defenders is a good choice for wellness. I think with the history of struvite crystals, I'd start it on this mushroom combo, and in about 2 weeks or 4 weeks, bring a UA into your vet. Or what I used to teach my clients was, because it gets expensive coming in and trying to get urine all the time, is you can get these pH test strips. And when your dog urinates, especially a female like that, there's going to be some urine on the hair around the vulva. You can just touch that to the test strip and read the pH yourself, and you can chart the pH of the urine. This is also a good technique for prevention, because as you see the pH getting more alkaline, you're increasing the risk of the struvites returning. So you can also do this preventively, even if you're not getting the 5 defenders.
Yeah. Good advice. Hope that helps, Julie.
Yeah.
Hi, Grant. Grant has a question. What's your philosophy of tinctures versus supplement extracts? You don't sell tinctures now. What are the downsides? Does your business plan on selling tinctures in the future?
We're discussing tinctures at the moment.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, and we're aware that they are very popular with pet parents, and we will certainly want to provide you with the kinds of products that you're most comfortable using. The biggest issue that we're trying to figure out is the formulation of these, because the beta glucans are not really soluble. It's hard to get a high enough concentration in a liquid format, which means you might have to give more. If you're medicating a larger dog, you might have to give them, even more than that. The powder is generally, quite well accepted, and is a way that you can scale up the dosage quite well. Yeah. But we're just we're looking at that still, and the jury's out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if we, because I've been asking a lot of questions about this, and I think if we figured out a way to make a really high quality tincture that we felt confident was as powerful as the powders, that what we've been working 20 plus years to master, we'll be doing it for sure.
When you're talking about a tincture that is alcohol based, we can do that. And the thing is that beta glucans aren't soluble in alcohol, but many of the other active ingredients that are synergistic with the beta glucans are soluble in alcohol, like the triterpenes, for instance, and some of the other important molecules. And so that is a possibility, to have it be more of a triterpene type of a formula in alcohol. Of course, most pets don't like alcohol, so that means we're going to have to dilute the alcohol out, with vegetable glycerin.
Glycerin, yeah.
And it's just another process, another step, and that will add expense and cost, to the product. So, we think what we have is pretty good. We understand the interest that the pet consumer has, though, in a liquid tincture.
Yeah, and where tinctures can be beneficial, and I think there's some good products out there in the marketplace that are in a liquid tincture. So it's great to have choices.
Okay.
Let's move. What's the next one? From Grant again. Is it possible to isolate the most powerful mushroom properties such as polysaccharide crestin, PSK, or is it too costly? What are the regulations with the FDA to sell it as a supplement? Another great question, Grant.
Okay. First of all, the FDA looks at mushrooms as being food. So as long as we're not making medical claims saying that the crestin is going to treat cancer, we can sell it as a functional food or as a nutraceutical. So we're okay with that with regards to that, and especially with regards to animals. But the minute we would put the mushroom into a food, then we start to run issues with AFCO that regulates pet food manufacturing. And right now, AFCO would only allow white button mushrooms or shiitake in pet food. And so we'll probably see some of that going on. The first question you're asking, though, I think that what you're thinking is, can we isolate a PSK or PSP from the turkey tail mushroom fruiting body? And the answer is probably not. And the reason is because these are primarily products of the liquid culture of the mycelium of specific strains of the turkey tail mushroom. So these are patented products. There are a number of pirated versions out there. We have no idea whether they're any good or not. There's only two labs there's one lab in China and one lab in Japan that has the patents and manufactures them in an authorized version. So my suggestion is, if you're looking to get that same kind of powerful impact from something like PSK or PSP, is simply to escalate the dosage of the turkey tail fruiting body, because it still has plenty of powerful stuff in it. The pharmaceutical industry and the drug industry and marketing industry, they like products that have a single ingredient, and so when the patents were created for PSK and PSP in the 1980s, following that, almost all the studies are of PSP and PSK when they actually talk about turkey tail. Very few subsequent to that have been with the turkey tail mushroom. Prior to that, turkey tail, this is why they looked at turkey tail. The turkey tail mushroom historically has great reputation for treating cancer in people. So there's no reason not to believe it won't do that in pets as well.
Yeah. And if I could just add regarding the PSP and PSK, I have seen some companies that are advertising that they can measure the PSP and PSK in the fruiting bodies, and I would love to know how. I've been trying to, I've been asking, because I'm like, okay, if it's doable, we've been looking for a long time trying to figure that one out, and so show us the research. How are you determining that?
Our company, not Real Mushrooms, but the company, our parent company, Namex, has been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
We are the top manufacturer of organic medicinal mushroom extracts globally. And we have great research capabilities and analysis capabilities. And I believe that the companies that are promoting that they can analyze PSK or PSP in their fruiting bodies are blowing smoke. And they're just using that as marketing because everyone is looking at the PSP and PSK because of the study for hemangiosarcoma in dogs. I wouldn't believe it. There's truth in advertising, and in the mushroom industry, we're not seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there you go. There's a way to be blunt about it.
No, it's true.
I think that one of the things I love about what we do is we are always looking. We are always looking to make our products better. And the way I want to come from it is like, if there's somebody's doing it, like how are they doing it? Let's find out. And so far, and I've asked a lot, and I haven't. So far, the answers haven't come back.
And the founder of our company is actually friends with the Chinese person the scientist who patented the PSD, and we've tried to get that from them, and they won't release it.
Yeah. So it would be cool if it was, it would be cool if it's doable. But again, I'd like to see the actual data that it can be, that it is doable. So what's the next question? Jordan, do we have any more, or are we going into some of the pre-sent in questions too? We don't want to forget those. From Patty, detoxing after vax, small 2-pound puppy, 14 weeks with a cough.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Specifically for the cough, I would look at Cordyceps because of its lungs and because the beta glucans in it, will be good for the immune system. If I hadn't seen the cough, I would have just suggested the 5 defenders for detoxing. And I see you know about titers, certainly. So obviously you understand the benefits and problems associated with vaccinations. And there are no-sodes. There are some other ways that we can also detox after vaccinations, and my guess would be you probably are aware of those as well.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Next question. My 9-year-old English cream retriever gets car sick. Haven't had much success with mushroom relaxed pet chews. Maybe I'm not giving her enough or giving too late before leaving. Any suggestions?
Well, certainly, I would follow the instructions in terms of dosing on the label. And if you're using the chew per 40 pounds, maybe try the chew per 20 pounds, which would be a higher dosage. And yes, maybe you need to wait longer before that. I would try those first. I'd like to think that, that supplements and mushrooms can treat everything we have and every problem, but maybe there's something else with your retriever that is making it more difficult. Have you tried drugs such as Dramamine or Benadryl, which also can be helpful? Sometimes the use of CBD, because sometimes they're is it car sickness because they're nauseous, or is it car sickness because they're so nervous they become nauseous? And so with the relaxed pet chews, it's more addressing the nervousness, versus the actual nausea. Have you tried ginger root? Wonderful. There's good studies that show ginger root is as good as, if not better than, Dramamine to treat car sickness in humans. It's very safe. You can get it in capsules, or you can take some ginger root or some ginger powder off of your shelf, and mix it in with your pet's food, or give it to them and syringe it in, and do that. Trying to get that in them an hour to 30 minutes before travel is a good idea.
Yeah. And regarding she's asking not giving her enough or giving too late. I'm curious about when they're giving the relaxed chews before leaving. What would you recommend? Like a half an hour, typically a half an hour before, Rob, to give the relaxed chews?
I would say an hour.
Full hour?
An hour, and 30 minutes might be a little short.
Okay.
Because the chews have to get digested, and they take a little time to get in there. And especially if you want to make sure that they're on board before you're traveling, better to be a little safe than sorry.
And then you can give a little more if they don't seem like they're quite there yet. You can give another one. Yeah, absolutely. All right. For retrievers who are prone to cancers, which mushrooms work best to prevent hemangiosarcoma, whether in the spleen or in the heart? So
we don't really know whether mushrooms can prevent hemangiosarcoma or not. And that's a hard thing to measure and to study. We do know that the liquid mycelial extract from turkey tail can help benefit dogs who have hemangiosarcoma and have had their spleens removed. I would suggest looking at something like the straight turkey tail or the 5 defenders, at a decent a decent dosage, to use that to help support the immune system, in the hopes that it will help to prevent this nasty cancer. I wish we did have a good preventative for it, because it would be so much better than the treatment, which is not all that great. Yeah, absolutely. Question from Kathy. I pre-make my pups weekly meals. Can I put the 5 defenders and lion's mane in the meals ahead of time and it keep its potency, or should I wait until right before they eat? I think you can mix it all together. I assume you're probably keeping them in the refrigerator or freezing it. Either way, once we've got the beta glucans and everything extracted, they're really, quite durable. You'd have to really, bake it at a pretty high temperature to destroy its potency.
Yeah. Makes it so much easier. Next question. Are there any plans in the works for classes on mushrooms?
Well, I'm working on an online course for mushrooms, and just taking time. There's so many things to do, so little time, so much to do. But yes, it would be nice to do that, and we'll definitely stay tuned. We'll let you know when these are being offered.
Yeah, absolutely. Carmen is asking, she says, hi there. I've just started my girl on turkey tail, 70 pounds, mass on spleen. What dose should I be giving? She's 13 plus. Also, I guess she also has 5 defenders and lion's mane.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the weight? 75?
70 pounds.
Okay, that's not the weight of the mass on the spleen, is it?
No, I think there's just a comma missing there.
Okay, so you want to get a pretty good dosage in there with a splenic mass, and you may want to consider removing it, Carmen, because it's just going to create more trouble the longer it's in there. But I would give 1 gram of beta glucans. So if you're using the powder, and half a teaspoon of the powder would contain 300 milligrams, you would have to give basically 1.5 teaspoons or half a tablespoon per day. And that would be a safe amount to give, and would be helpful. You could even give that twice daily, even give it a higher dosage. But I would seriously consider removing that mass, which means you remove the spleen.
Would the fact that the dog's 13 years old give you pause at all about removing the mass if you're not sure it's cancerous? I know that's a tough one.
I can't answer that. There needs to, there's a lot of diagnostics that are involved here. 13-year-old dogs can handle surgery and anesthesia, but some can't. I think you should discuss this with your vet. By
the way, this is probably a good time to throw in your disclaimer, which we didn't do.
The disclaimer, right? So I'm not really supposed to be giving specific medical advice to specific patients without a doctor-patient relationship. So the answers I'm giving you are generic to that problem, that disease, and the treatments that we have. But I'm not really telling you what to do for your animal.
Yeah, there you go. Another question from Grant. What negative effects can turkey tail have on a dog's liver in doses too high due to BMI or with an unhealthy dog? My vet recommended routine liver checks for my dog while taking turkey tail.
Well, there have been no studies that show turkey tail has any kind of problem with the liver, so I'm not quite sure why your vet wants to do that. But it may be that the liver itself has already been challenged for other reasons, and certainly an unhealthy liver that is challenged for other reasons may respond differently to something new like that. So it's not bad. I encourage routine checks, and especially on the liver. We need to keep track of it, but there's really not any downside, for turkey tail.
Grant has more information here. It's supplementing milk thistle. My dog is 85 pounds currently and has cancer. Turkey tail is being used to help reduce tumor growth. He's on 1,000 milligrams per day. What's the max for his body weight per day?
Are we talking about 1,000 milligrams of beta glucans or 1,000 milligrams of turkey tail? Because if you were just listening to the advice I gave to the lady just before, for a 70-pound dog, about 1 gram of beta glucan. So that would be like a teaspoon, let's say 2 teaspoons for a larger dog per day. And you can give more. You could give double that, 2 teaspoons twice daily. And sorry that he has cancer, and I hope that this makes a difference. There are other things that also can be helpful for that. There's Chinese herbs, and cannabis can also be good.
Yeah, and Grant wrote turkey tail. I think what Dr. Silver was saying, that he didn't know if you were giving 1,000 milligrams of beta glucans or 1,000 milligrams of the actual powder of turkey tail, which is very, very different.
Yeah, so if you're using our powder, as I mentioned, half a teaspoon is 1,000 milligrams, is approximately 300 milligrams of beta glucans. We standardize everything, which is an advantage, and certainly a lot easier with a powder. To go back to your original question, if we were trying to treat your dog with a liquid, it would really take a lot of liquid to get that kind of potency of beta glucan. So, it wouldn't, I don't think it would be appropriate to use that. So yeah, I would go with 2 teaspoons of the powder twice daily. I would start, work your way up gradually from 1,000 milligrams of beta glucans per day, which is half a teaspoon. So you're going to start escalating it gradually over the next couple of weeks to make sure there are no problems with it. It's safe to use, but we could still see things like diarrhea or, just idiosyncratic reactions that an individual might have, especially if he has cancer and liver issues and things like that.
Yeah. And best of luck, Grant. It sounds like you're really doing your research, and that's great. Really advocating for your dog.
Yeah. Let us help you with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cindy is asking, what are the best mushrooms for anal sac carcinoma? I've been giving half teaspoon each daily of turkey tail and lion's mane. Also 4 capsules daily of reishi. It's a 105-pound German Shepherd. And I know she added some comments on the bottom. He's on Palladia also. Oh, he's on Palladia also. Yeah.
Okay. So can I have the original question, please?
Yeah.
So I think the mushrooms that you're using are smart. I'm going to have to do the math to figure out, how that all works. And it's complicated because it's not just a single mushroom. But if we're 100, I'm looking over here because that's where my calculator is. 105 pounds divided by 2.2 gives us close to 50 kgs. So we want to treat about 30 mg per kg. So that would be about 1,500 milligrams, or 1.5 grams total of beta glucans. So half a teaspoon of the turkey tail will have 300 milligrams. Half a teaspoon of the lion's mane will have 250 milligrams. So that's 550 milligrams. And then 4 capsules daily of the reishi. Well, it would depend upon whether these are the pet capsules at 300 milligrams or the human capsules. A dog that size, my suspicion is you're using the human capsules. They have 500 milligrams in them. So 4 of those would be the same as a full teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of reishi has we're up to 25% now, aren't we? Should have 250 milligrams.
I think so, yeah.
So that would be 500. So you're 500, and you're very close to being right at that amount. So I would say maybe give another half a teaspoon of turkey tail, and you'll be in a good place as far as enough mushrooms for the anal sac carcinoma. And while we don't have any experience with palladia and mushrooms, we do have a lot of experience with other chemo agents, and it does seem as though mushrooms do not have any kind of negative effect on chemotherapy. In many cases, they seem to actually train the cancer to be more susceptible to the chemo. So hopefully that'll be the case here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nasty cancer. I lost a dog to that.
Yeah, and reishi, I'm just looking it up there. It does have at least 25 milligrams of beta glucan in our product. Yeah.
Well done.
Reishi. Yeah. So next question. I would love to give horse with breathing issues Cordyceps, but I don't know if I could afford to get the dosage high enough.
Well, first of all, because horses are herbivores, they tend to be very efficient with their use of herbs and their use of mushrooms. And so if you're looking at our bulk powder, and I think we now even have a larger bulk powder available, which makes it less, less pennies per milligram of beta glucans. And if you look at dosing the horse, let's say it's an average. I'm just for ease of calculations, 500 kilogram, 1,000 pound, 1,200 pound horse, and you want to treat it with Cordyceps, and we used the lowest dosing tier because they're so efficient. That would be I'm sorry, let me try that again. 500 milligrams times, okay, that's what that is. That would be about 200 milligrams of Cordyceps, which really would be just half a teaspoon. So it's really not going to take much. I would give it more. It's not that expensive, and breathing issues in horses aren't a good thing. They're all lungs and legs, lungs and legs. So I'd probably give half a teaspoon to a teaspoon twice daily.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I live in Virginia now, but when I was living in Northern California 2 years ago, it was a horrible fire season. And I was working with some veterinarians that had horses, and we're using Cordyceps to help the horses that with smoke inhalation. And they said they reported back that it seemed to help. So yeah, hopefully the Cordyceps will help your horse with their breathing issues. What is the next question? Okay. My 10-year-old dog has a heart murmur. We had the EKG, beginning stages, so no symptoms. Any mushrooms that support cardiovascular health? I'm starting ubiquinol and freeze-dried turkey hearts.
Okay. Some glandular there.
Yeah.
Make sure you have enough calcium in there, because the hearts are very high in phosphorus and could cause some kidney issues. Reishi is really the mushroom to look for with heart, and you can get that as a purified powder in capsules. Probably a bit bitter for the powder, but I have heard of some dogs that are accepting of that bitter powder as well.
Yeah, I have my little notes here because there's a couple mushrooms that are good for yeah, I'm seeing reishi here, but also chaga is also good with cardiovascular disease. So yeah, maybe the 5 defenders would be a good one as well, of course.
Because it's early and you're not really symptomatic at this point.
Yeah.
Many dogs live and die with heart murmurs with no development of heart disease. I think you're showing some smarts in terms of what you're doing. Yeah.
And again, I'm going to throw something that might get a skeptical look from you. But at my the previous company that I worked for, a whole food supplement company, we used to say that the heart is one of the most responsive organs to nutritional therapy. Would you say that is? Have you heard that, Doc Rob?
Well, it has such a high metabolic rate, so it takes in nutrients at a high rate and metabolizes them at a high rate. So if you're using the right nutrients in the heart, I can see how it would be beneficial. Mm-hmm. If someone were to ask me which organ is, most modifiable by supplements, I'd say liver.
Well, liver, yeah, that's for sure. That's true. Awesome. Any recommendations for cat dental health?
Brush their teeth. Seriously, if you start them as kittens, which probably is not the situation here, you can get them used to it. An older cat, maybe not so much, especially if they have gingivitis or even worse, stomatitis.
Yeah.
I would just suggest the Cordyceps, and not because we have any specific evidence that supports it, but because you're likely to get it into the cat, and it has many beneficial benefits, right? Good benefits in terms of its beta-glucan content, its ability to downsize infections and things like that as well. So I would, and because of its ease of giving, especially if a cat has dental disease, maybe a little bit reluctant to take in new tastes or things like that, I think Cordyceps would be your best bet though.
Yeah. Although, and we don't have a shiitake product, there are some clinical studies around shiitake for teeth and gums in humans. Yeah, which I remember reading that study or hearing about that study, and my ears perked up, wondering how that could translate to veterinary.
Interesting.
Yeah, I found that very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next question: which mushrooms would work together to shrink the benign mass on my dog's spleen? Currently getting 1 daily capsule of turkey tail, 5 defenders, and lion's mane. We don't know this dog's weight though.
Yeah. Well, I think that those are good mushrooms to try, and I hope that it will shrink the mass. There's no guarantee for that. I have heard of that happening. Certainly, and so that's certainly worthwhile. I had a case I worked on of hemangiosarcoma which was not benign, in a dog that they refused to splenectomize the dog, and we used uber high dosages of turkey tail, and the dog lived for over 8 months like that,
Wow.
without splenectomy.
Yeah.
I had a few other things like Yunnan Biao and
Sure.
other Chinese herbs, and also had some cannabis, but I credit the turkey tail primarily.
Yeah. Fantastic. And yeah, always a good reminder, like mushrooms work in synergy with other, with the entire protocol, often it's not just the mushrooms, it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's next?
Which mushrooms may help an English bulldog suffering bone cancer in one leg? At what dosage? This is a new rescue case at Southern California Bulldog Rescue. She is currently in hospice care.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's as bad a disease as hemangio, if not worse, because the pain.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's amputated or not.
Right.
Rescue, maybe not. In hospice, I get it. So, yeah, I would probably suggest, a high dosage of our 5 defenders or our turkey tail for that, and a lot of prayer.
Yeah. Yeah. Some pain relief that mushrooms can't provide. Yeah.
There's not a lot that can provide pain relief for that problem.
Right. Kathy has a question. Which mushroom is best for allergies? I'm already giving 5 defenders right now. How much of this is good for allergies? I'm giving 1 capsule twice a day. I have a 55-pound and a 75-pound Airedale Terrier. And
they both have allergies. Well, looking at the larger dog, that's about 35 kilograms. And if we were to dose it at, let's say, 10 milligrams per kilogram, then you'd need about 350 milligrams of beta glucans. So one capsule twice a day, 1 capsule. Again, I don't know if you're talking about the pet capsule, 300 milligrams, or the human capsule. I'll believe it's probably the human capsule. That seems to be the trend. So a 500 milligram capsule of 5 defenders would have, let's see, there's 20% beta glucans in 5 defenders, aren't there? So it'd be 200 milligrams for half a teaspoon, would be 125 milligrams. So you would really need to give about 3 capsules a day for the Airedale and 2 capsules a day for the smaller dog.
And do you think the 5 defenders is the best choice, or would reishi be
No, because we've got the chaga in the 5 defenders too.
Oh, that's true. That's synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Okay. You are correct. Mm-hmm. I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Which mushrooms are good for lymphoma?
I think all mushrooms will have a benefit for lymphoma. Lymphoma is a cancer of the immune system, and cells of the immune system, before they become cancerous, have beta glucan receptors on them. So you wonder if lymphoma cells may also have these beta glucan receptors. So I would say, turkey tail would be a good choice, but certainly 5 defenders with turkey tail and reishi and the chaga and the shiitake and the maitake. I think I would use that one. I think the 5 defenders is where we would go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got 2 minutes left. Okay, we're going to thanks, Jordan. You're going to throw one more in for us. My husky has a weeping eye, and 5 defenders has reduced it. That's awesome.
So that may be in part, you're talking to the woman who had questions about the floaters and the cloudy eyes.
Yeah.
And so maybe in that case, thank you for sharing that. The 5 defenders might be good for that patient as well.
And I wonder if the weeping eye was related to allergy, some sort of allergy.
True.
That the synergy of the chaga and reishi was supporting.
True.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. We love hearing success. And, always if we give, if Dr. Silver gives us a general suggestion and you find it helpful, we always love hearing about it.
Yes. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah. This person saying, thanks so much for this talk and awesome products. Me, my dog, cats, and soon my horse are on real mushroom supplement. Yes, we love hearing that. We're all on. I don't know if I could fit any more real mushrooms in me at this point. Oh goodness. Well, our time is up. And wow, this was fun tonight. And I learned a lot. And I hope you all did too. Thank you, Dr. Silver. It's always I always learn so much when I bicker with you. I mean, talk with you.
Thanks for the great questions, by the way. They were really tough, challenging, and I like them like that. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. We'll see you next month. Yeah. Jordan, do you have that date? I know Dr. Silver is going to be speaking at a conference at the end of August. So I'm not sure. Did we change that?
We made it to the
last Thursday of the month, but we might have moved it up.
That's what it might be.
I don't remember offhand, but we'll let you guys know if you're fine. Oh, August 17th. Thank you, Jordan, is our next one. Because Doc Silver is going to be speaking at an acupuncture conference in Alexandria, Virginia, speaking on mushrooms. So he'll be speaking everywhere, but the one that's coming up is at the end of August, and then he's everywhere.
I mean, why don't you tell them about some of the places you're going to be?
Yeah, actually, I should. So anyone in the Chicago area, or actually, you all should come to the Chicago area. Next a week from this coming Saturday, August 5th, I'm going to be representing, me and Jordan are actually going to be representing real mushrooms at Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets Experience. It's going to be in St. Charles, Illinois. And it's going to be Dr. Judy Morgan, Billy Huckman, and Angela Ardolino are going to be speaking on all things related to pet health. It's going to be an amazing experience. This is an in-person experience, so you can all come and meet like-minded people and talk pets and nutrition and all types of things. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then we've got some more events coming up in California, and we'll tell you all about the future events in future lives.
Well, you have that in the newsletter, don't you, Joni?
It's in the newsletter as well. Yeah. So if you buy a Real Mushrooms pet product, that automatically puts you on the Real Mushrooms pet newsletter, and so we keep you updated in the newsletter on where we're going to be.
Are we not allowed to post that on the Facebook page?
We can, and I do sometimes. Yeah, that's a good idea. And I just really quickly, I'll just say that we're going to be starting some different kind of Facebook Lives on Fridays. It's going to be a fun guy or fun gal Friday, or furry fun guy or fun gal Friday. I'm not wedded to the name, but it's looking like the first interview is going to be Friday, August 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern time with canine herbalist Rita Hogan. And I'm very excited to chat with Rita about, we're just going to nerd out about mushrooms, basically. So looking forward to that. Someone's calling you, Rob. All right. Well, with that, we will sign off until next time. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Again.
And thanks, Julie.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.